The alien research station Varelli's floated silently in the void near the edge of the neutral star system Zythera. Its tall silver towers glimmered faintly against the darkness, reflecting the pale light of the nearby star. Within its control chambers, the alien species known as the Lurathi bustled with careful precision. These beings had mastered technology far beyond anything their neighbors had seen, yet their approach to the universe was cautious. Every move was calculated, every experiment double-checked. And yet mistakes, even small ones, could be catastrophic. Dr. Kael'thir, a senior Lurathi scientist, hovered over a holographic console, her multiple limbs moving gracefully to adjust complex calculations. The experiment today was supposed to be harmless. Using a new interdimensional communication array, the Lurathi wanted to contact a species in a distant galaxy they believed was peaceful and intelligent. Their hope was to establish alliances and trade networks that would ensure their continued dominance in the region. Kael'thir's assistant, a younger Lurathi named Mirnak, adjusted a lens on one of the energy amplifiers. "The beacon is ready," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Coordinates locked. Power at 70%. "Should we begin?" Kael'thir paused. Her eyes, reflective like liquid silver, scanned the data streams floating in the air. 70% is too low," she murmured. "We need full energy. Any signal weaker might get lost in the rift." Mirnak hesitated but nodded, trusting his mentor's judgment. "Full power it is." The Lurathi scientists synchronized their instruments, their combined attention focused on the glowing array in the center of the chamber. Energy arcs danced across the surfaces of the machinery, and a soft hum filled the room. Slowly, the beacon started to form a shimmering gateway, a pale oval of light that seemed to ripple like water. Outside the station, unnoticed by the Lurathi, the beacon pierced not just space, but dimensions. It reached across galaxies, leaving a ripple in reality that no one had intended. Somewhere in a galaxy they had never mapped, something stirred. On a dry red planet bathed in the harsh glare of two suns, the humans, known to outsiders as Deathworlders, noticed it immediately. Lieutenant Kara Maddox was inspecting a remote mining colony when her sensors blinked. The alert was faint at first, a barely perceptible distortion in the cosmic background. "But it was enough. What is that?" Kara muttered, squinting at the readouts. The signal wasn't natural. It pulsed in a rhythm that seemed deliberate. Her second-in-command, Sergeant Rylan, came over, leaning close to the screen. "That's not local. That's external. Could be some kind of ship, maybe a probe." Kara shook her head. "No probe. Too large, too precise, and it's definitely not ours." Back on Varelli's, the Lurathi scientists were still adjusting the beacon, unaware that they had just sent a cosmic invitation to a species they had only read about in old, fragmented reports. Kael'thir frowned at a spike in the energy readings. "That's unexpected. The array is stable. The coordinates are correct. Yet there's a feedback. Something is responding." Before anyone could react, sensors lit up across the station. Massive objects moving at incredible speed, thousands of kilometers away. Fleets of ships, huge, angular, and seemingly crude by Lurathi standards, were converging toward the neutral star system. The beacon had done more than summon a species. It had summoned an entire armada of humans. "Impossible," shouted Mirnak, his limbs trembling. That's the Deathworlders!" Kael'thir's multifaceted eyes narrowed. "Impossible or not, they are coming. Alert the command fleet. Prepare defenses." Panic spread through the station like wildfire. The Lurathi, who had always relied on their superior technology, suddenly felt the creeping edge of fear. Their calculations had predicted trade partners, not warriors. Their simulations had shown peaceful curiosity, not tactical precision. And now hundreds of ships, each armed, each adaptable, each human, were moving closer with terrifying coordination. On the red planet, Kara Maddox watched as the sensors displayed the approaching human fleet. Unlike the humans stationed on her planet, the ships moving toward the neutral system were enormous, bristling with weaponry and shields. And yet, the display also showed something else. An efficiency, a resourcefulness in formation, a way of moving that suggested humans were not just surviving, they were thriving, even in conditions that would destroy other species. "Commander," Rylan said, pointing at a cluster of ships navigating through a meteor belt. "Look at how they handle that. No shields lost, Perfect coordination. And they're using the environment, as if it's part of their strategy. Kara nodded, her jaw tightening. They're not just coming. They're thinking. They're adapting. Back on Varelli's, the Lorathi were scrambling. Defense stations activated, weapon arrays hummed to life, and a dozen interstellar messages were fired toward nearby colonies warning of the approaching Armada. Kelthir's mind raced. Mirnak, can we reverse the beacon? Pull them back? Mirnak shook his head. Too late. It's already resonating across dimensions. If we try to shut it down now, it could tear the array apart. The humans, they're on their way, whether we want them or not. The station shook as the first human scouts entered the system. Despite their smaller numbers, the scouts moved with precision. Their hulls, reinforced by technology that seemed primitive yet shockingly effective, deflected early warning lasers with ease. Communication attempts failed. The humans did not respond with words or signals. They moved. They observed. And they adapted. Kelthir's heart, or its Lorathi equivalent, skipped a beat. They are not afraid, they are approaching boldly. As the hours passed, the Lorathi learned something chilling. Human ships were self-repairing mid-flight, their crews adjusting tactics faster than any simulation had predicted. A minor collision with an asteroid field was turned into an advantage. Humans used debris as cover, using the chaos to approach the station's perimeter undetected. On the human side, Lieutenant Kara Maddox gave a single order. Stay sharp. Observe first. Adapt second. We survive first. Her crew moved with quiet efficiency, unafraid, prepared for conditions that would have paralyzed the Lorathi with fear. The humans' Deathworlder nature, hardened by decades of surviving the universe's most hostile planets, made them uniquely suited for this unforeseen encounter. Every move was precise, every adjustment immediate, every action calculated. And while the Lorathi had intended to contact a friendly species, what they had summoned was something else entirely. A species that did not fear the unknown, a species that thrived in chaos, a species that by mere accident had now begun moving toward their domain with unstoppable force. Kelthir stared at the approaching lights on her console, her mind racing. If they breach the outer defenses, she whispered, nothing will stop them. Nothing we know can stop them. In the distant nebula beyond the system, the first human scouts emerged from warp. Their hulls gleamed under twin starlight, and from their bridge, Kara Maddox observed the alien system with calm certainty. Let's see what this is, she said softly. New planet, new challenge. We adapt, and we survive. The Varelli station shuddered as the humans drew closer, unknowingly rewriting the Lorathi's understanding of strength, courage, and survival. What was meant to be a simple experiment had become the first act of a story the universe would not soon forget. Somewhere in the deep corridors of the alien station, Kelthir finally spoke aloud the truth that all the simulations had missed. They didn't come for war, but they will win it anyway. The calm of the neutral star system shattered as the first human scouts approached. To the Lorathi, who had always relied on careful calculations and simulations, the sight of humans moving through space was unlike anything they had ever predicted. Ships designed for speed and endurance glided through the void, not with the precision of drones, but with the instinct of a species that understood danger intimately. On the bridge of the human lead scout, Lieutenant Kara Maddox scanned the approaching alien outposts. She noted their formations, the layout of defensive satellites, and the behavior of smaller patrolling vessels. Her eyes were sharp, her mind quick. They're organized but predictable, she said to her crew. Let's see how they react to us. Her crew, all veterans of hostile planets and near-impossible missions, worked in perfect harmony. Sensors, shields, and propulsion systems hummed softly. Every human knew their role, yet all of them stayed alert, ready to adapt to anything. The Deathworlders were not just surviving, they were prepared for the unknown. The first encounter, near the outer perimeter of the Varelli station's defenses. The first alien patrol ships moved to intercept the humans. They were sleek, elegant, and deadly in appearance. Machines built for speed with weapons that could annihilate smaller vessels. The Lorathi officers aboard these ships were confident. They had seen simulations of every possible enemy encounter. Surely these humans would be no exception. But the humans were different. Kara's ship, the Resolute, moved like water. weaving between asteroid fragments and nebula debris that the Lorathi patrols had assumed were hazards. Instead of slowing down, the humans used the environment as cover. They became ghosts among the stars, impossible to predict, impossible to target. A Lorathi captain, Virmal, opened fire. Energy beams arced toward the Resolute, and the patrol formation tightened. "Aim carefully. Do not underestimate them," Virmal ordered. The humans did not flee. They did not panic. With the calm efficiency that had earned them the nickname Deathworlders, Kara ordered evasive maneuvers that seemed almost instinctual. The ship spun and rolled, turning the Lorathi beams into harmless streaks of light. "Shields holding steady," her navigator reported. "Their weapons are strong, but they can't adjust fast enough." Kara's lips curved slightly. "Then let's make it harder for them. Activate environmental adaptation protocols. Use the debris to our advantage." Within seconds, human drones launched from the Resolute, small, fast devices designed to manipulate local debris and asteroids. They nudged chunks of rock into alien patrol paths, forcing Lorathi ships to break formation or risk collision. The aliens tried to respond, but every adjustment the humans made seemed to anticipate their countermeasures. "This is unprecedented," muttered Virmal, watching his screens. They are learning from us, adjusting faster than our simulations predicted." Alien panic and human strategy back at the Varelli station, alarms blared. The Alien Council convened immediately, their voices frantic, vibrating across multiple frequencies. "The humans are not just surviving, they are adapting," one officer warned. "Our patrols are failing. They are using tactics we could not have calculated." Kael'thir, the lead scientist, observed the battle with mounting horror. "They do not follow our rules. They do not fear our weapons. This is not a species we can intimidate. They are unstoppable in ways we cannot comprehend." Meanwhile, Kara directed her fleet with precise commands. The humans had trained for this exact type of scenario, an unknown hostile species with advanced technology. Their advantage was not in raw power, but in adaptability. Every obstacle was turned into a tool, every threat into an opportunity. A Lorathi cruiser tried a flanking maneuver, moving to surround the human scouts. Kara anticipated the move. "Prepare counter-ambush," she ordered. Human drones and fighter units slid into positions between the cruiser and its target. When the Lorathi attempted to close the distance, they were met with a rapid volley of precision strikes. Not to destroy, but to disable. The cruiser's engines sputtered, its weapon systems jammed, and it was forced to retreat. Rylan, Kara's second-in-command, watched with quiet satisfaction. "They're strong, but predictable when you know how they think," Kara nodded. "Exactly. We don't just fight. We adapt. Observation first, adjustment second. Survival always. The human advantage. The Lorathi could not understand the humans. Their ships were not the fastest, their shields not the strongest. Yet somehow humans survived. They repaired damage mid-flight, reconfigured their formations instantly, and used environmental hazards in ways no simulation had ever predicted. On the bridge of the Resolute, Kara issued another command. "Target their communications array. Disable it, non-lethal. We need to study them, not kill them yet." Her crew hesitated. Non-lethal tactics against an unknown species in hostile space? It was unusual, even for Deathworlders. Kara's reasoning was clear. Humans valued intelligence and observation. Understanding the enemy was as important as defeating them. A Lorathi patrol ship, attempting to escape, found its systems overridden by human hacking modules. The humans had deployed specialized drones to interface with alien technology, not to destroy it, but to temporarily control it. The ship's engines shut down and it floated helplessly in space. "Why aren't they panicking?" Virmal demanded. "Every other species would have surrendered or fled." "They thrive under pressure," Kael'thir whispered. "They turn danger into advantage." "They do not fight like we fight." "They fight like predators." Human ingenuity shines as the skirmish continued. Humans adapted to the Lorathi's next tactic. Coordinated energy strikes designed to force them into narrow corridors between asteroid fields. The Lorathi believed this would corner the human ships, making them easy targets, but humans anticipated it. Kara activated a series of small maneuvering thrusters along the hull of the Resolute, allowing the ship to pivot in unexpected ways. Smaller drones darted between alien ships, creating a confusing, chaotic battlefield that the Lorathi could not predict. Their targeting systems, precise and deadly against predictable foes, struggled to lock onto human movement. A young Lurathi officer screamed in frustration. Impossible. They are everywhere at once and nowhere at the same time. Kara smiled faintly. Let's give them a taste of Deathworlder ingenuity, she murmured. Her fleet deployed a series of decoy ships, holographic duplicates powered by drones. The Lurathi fired relentlessly, wasting energy and exposing gaps in their own formations. Human fighters using the gaps slipped through and disabled key weapon systems on several alien ships. By the end of the skirmish, not a single human vessel was lost. A handful of Lurathi patrols were damaged, and the aliens were left in stunned confusion. Aftermath of first contact, the humans retreated to a safe distance to analyze the battle. Kara's crew worked in silence, repairing minor hull damage and recalibrating systems. They're strong, Ryland admitted. Stronger than anything we've faced. But they can be understood, and we can survive. Exactly, Kara said. Observation first. Adaptation second. Survival always. She stared at the alien fleet through the viewport. They don't know what hit them yet, but they will learn. Across the Varelli station, Kelthir convened an emergency meeting. Her colleagues were pale. By Lurathi standards, that meant terrified. This is not a minor threat, she said. These humans, they are not just survivors. They are predators in the truest sense. They adapt faster than any of our simulations. Their response to our weapons is beyond comprehension. One council member, trembling, asked, "What can we do? Our fleets cannot stop them." Kelthir shook her head. We cannot underestimate them. We cannot contain them. The humans, they have already changed the rules of engagement. We must study them, if we can survive the next encounter. Meanwhile, far from the alien systems, Kara and her crew prepared for the next move. Their mission was not destruction, it was survival, adaptation, and understanding. Every scan, every analysis, every tactic they used would push the humans further ahead of their alien counterparts. The Lurathi had believed themselves supreme, confident in their technology, their knowledge, and their simulations. But humans, unpredictable, resilient, and fearless, had already shattered that illusion. As the stars shimmered in the void around them, Kara whispered to herself, "We survive. We adapt, and the universe, well, it's about to learn that lesson too." The first contact had ended. The chaos had been survived. But the humans' presence in the neutral system was only the beginning. And the Lurathi, for all their pride and intelligence, had only just realized the full scale of the challenge they had unwittingly summoned. The Varelli's council had never convened so quickly. Their alarms had not just warned of approaching humans, they had shaken the very foundation of the Lurathi belief in their supremacy. Every fleet station and defensive satellite in the neutral star system had been placed on the highest alert. The council chambers, a towering structure of crystalline light and smooth metal, buzzed with tension. "Have we underestimated them?" demanded Admiral Virmal, pacing across the floor. "Our patrols are failing. Our weapons are barely effective, and yet they are still surviving, unscathed, coordinated, and adapting." Kelthir, standing at the center of the chamber, replied calmly, though her voice carried the weight of urgency. "They are humans, Deathworlders. Our records have always warned of their resilience. But simulations cannot predict instinct. They adapt to environmental hazards, tactical pressure, and unexpected obstacles. Their ability to learn mid-conflict is unprecedented," the council murmured among themselves. Ships were already mobilizing across the system, from nearby colonies to distant orbital platforms. Hundreds of warships, all armed with advanced energy weapons, missiles, and defensive shields, prepared to engage a species that had already proven itself unpredictable. Admiral Virmal's eyes narrowed. "Then we respond with everything we have. The entire Armada must converge here. No human survives the combined might of our fleets." Humans observed from afar, far from the chaos. Lieutenant Kara Maddox and the human fleet hovered at the edge of the system, scanning the alien mobilization. "They're calling the Armada," Rylan observed, watching dozens of ships leave orbit and head toward the humans' position. "It's more than patrols now. They're bringing everything," Kara nodded. Her calm demeanor never wavered. "Let them come. We adapt, we survive. That's all we need to focus on." The humans had already analyzed the skirmishes. Their observations revealed weaknesses in alien coordination, reliance on predictable weapon patterns, and overconfidence in simulations. These flaws would be key in the coming encounters. Prepare for large-scale engagement, Kara ordered. Deploy drones for reconnaissance and environmental adaptation. Keep formations flexible. Remember, first we observe, then we adapt. The first wave, the Varelli's Armada, moved with breathtaking speed and coordination. Thousands of ships, from small patrols to massive capital cruisers, swept through space in perfect formations. They carried weapons that could destroy planets, shields that could repel concentrated fire, and technology that the humans had never encountered before. Yet when the first alien scouts approached, they encountered the same obstacle humans had used before: environmental adaptation. Kara's drones redirected asteroid debris, used nebula gases to confuse sensors, and created illusions of fleet positions. The humans moved like shadows through the chaos, striking in ways the Lurathi could not anticipate. A massive cruiser attempted a frontal assault on the Resolute. The humans responded not with brute force but strategy. Fighter units darted around the cruiser, disabling critical systems with precise surgical strikes. Drones infiltrated energy conduits, temporarily shutting down weapon arrays. The alien vessel faltered, its formation disrupted. Impossible. Admiral Virmal's voice rang across the fleet's communications channels. "How can so few resist so many?" Kael'thir, watching in disbelief, whispered, "It's not the numbers. It's their adaptability. Every move we make, they counter before we even anticipate it." Alien tactical errors. As more of the Armada converged, the Lurathi attempted to surround the humans. They formed massive wedge-shaped formations, trying to trap the human ships between multiple fronts. It should have been effective. Against any other species, it would have been devastating. But humans were not like any other species. Kara split her forces into smaller, agile groups, each capable of independent operation. They exploited gaps in the alien formations, used terrain, asteroid fields, gravity wells, and nebula clouds as shields, and even turned some alien ships against each other by triggering chain reactions and energy emissions. Rylan observed the results on the holographic display. "They can't keep up with us. Their coordination is falling apart." Kara's gaze remained fixed on the fleet. "Good, keep pushing. Observe patterns in their formation. Identify weaknesses. Exploit them. Always adapt." By the time the first major wave of Lurathi ships engaged, their numbers were effectively neutralized by human strategy. Alien vessels were damaged, energy systems overloaded, and formations broken. The humans had survived an entire Armada assault without losing a single ship. Adapting to human ingenuity, Kael'thir's analysis of human behavior revealed a terrifying truth. The humans did not just react to danger, they anticipated it. Their instincts, honed over generations on Deathworlds, allowed them to survive environments and situations that no other species could endure. "They are not afraid," Kael'thir said, staring at her monitors. "They anticipate. They adjust. Every attack we launch is countered not by technology but by instinct and innovation. It is evolutionary." Admiral Virmal clenched his claws in frustration. "Then we escalate. Bring in the capital ships. We will overwhelm them with firepower." Kara, observing the massive cruisers entering the system, ordered her fleet to scatter into multiple vectors. The humans used speed, agility, and environmental hazards to divide and conquer. Smaller, faster vessels drew alien ships into ambushes set by drones and decoy ships. Mines disguised as asteroids disabled engines. Holographic projections created illusions of human fleet movements. The aliens, despite their superior numbers, struggled to maintain order. Communications were overwhelmed with conflicting sensor data. Ships collided or were forced to retreat due to unexpected hazards. Rylan shook his head in disbelief. "They've brought the full Armada, and yet we are still ahead." Kara's expression was calm. "They bring numbers. We bring adaptability. Numbers cannot predict instinct. Humans establish a forward base, recognizing the need for a foothold in the system." Kara ordered a team to land on a nearby hostile planet. Its surface a wasteland of jagged rock and harsh winds. The humans quickly established a temporary base, using automated systems to terraform small areas and create defensive positions. Alien sensors detected the operation, but human ingenuity turned the harsh environment into a tactical advantage. "Every inch of terrain is ours to use," Kara said to her landing team. "We adapt. We survive. We make it work." The Lurathi observed the development with increasing unease. "They are not just surviving, they are using the planet against us," Kael'thir noted. They turn danger into advantage, chaos into strategy. This is beyond our calculations. Admiral Virmal gritted his teeth. We will crush them. The Armada will not fail. Kelthir shook her head slowly. Do you truly understand what we face? These are humans, Deathworlders. They thrive where others die. Every environment is an advantage for them. Every weapon we use, they will learn to counter. A lesson in survival. The first week of large-scale engagement ended with the humans holding the upper hand. Not by firepower, not by numbers, but by resilience, strategy, and adaptability. Each encounter taught the humans something new about the Lurathi, and each adjustment made them harder to defeat. Kara looked out over the stars from the bridge of the Resolute. They're strong, she said quietly. But strength alone doesn't win battles. Observation and adaptation do. And we excel at both, Rylan nodded. The Armada will keep coming. They'll throw everything they have at us next. Good, Kara replied. Then we'll adapt to everything, always survival first. Adaptation second. Everything else comes after. On the other side of the system, Kelthir finally understood the terrifying reality. Humans were not just survivors. They were predators, explorers, and warriors in one. They could turn the universe's most hostile conditions into advantages. And the Lurathi, despite their entire armada, were only just beginning to see the full scope of the challenge they had unleashed. The calm before the next storm. The human fleet regrouped and repaired. The Vareli's armada pulled back to reconsider its approach. The aliens had underestimated their opponent, and the cost had been higher than they could afford. The humans, meanwhile, prepared for the next wave. Each repair, each recalibration, each tactical discussion brought them closer to mastery over the engagement. Kara stood on the bridge, looking toward the distant armada. They'll come again, she said, and we'll be ready. Always. Observe. Adapt. Survive. The stars of the neutral system glimmered faintly as the first real battle between humans and the alien armada came to an end. But the war was far from over. The humans had survived against impossible odds, and the universe would soon learn a simple truth. The Deathworlders adapted, survived, and thrived where others fell. For the Lurathi, the realization was chilling. Their simulations had failed. Their confidence had faltered. And they had just begun to understand the relentless nature of humanity. The neutral star system quaked under the presence of the full Lurathi armada. Hundreds of warships glimmered in the void, their energy weapons charging in preparation for the final assault. The Lurathi had mobilized everything: battleships, cruisers, frigates, and fleets of smaller drones, all designed to overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers and firepower. On the other side, Lieutenant Kara Maddox watched from the bridge of the Resolute, her eyes steady. The human fleet was smaller, more agile, and far outnumbered, but the humans had a trait no technology could replicate: adaptability. Everyone ready? Kara asked, her voice calm but commanding. Ready, her navigator Rylan replied. They're throwing everything they have at us. Good, Kara said. Then we'll show them why Deathworlders survive where others fail. The first strike. The Lurathi armada surged forward, a wall of energy and metal, each ship bristling with weapons. The first volleys lit up space with vibrant streaks of blue and green energy. Alien firepower was devastating, capable of obliterating smaller human ships in seconds. But the humans did not panic. Every ship deployed a series of adaptive shields, absorbing or deflecting incoming beams. Fighter squads darted between capital ships, drawing fire and creating confusion. Small drones scouted for weak points, relaying information instantly back to the main fleet. Kara gave a single command. Use the environment. Turn it into our weapon. Asteroids, comet fragments, and debris fields became obstacles for the Lurathi, but shields and cover for the humans. Some human drones manipulated asteroids' trajectories, forcing alien cruisers to maneuver unpredictably, exposing their weaker sides to concentrated attacks. A massive Lurathi battleship fired a high-intensity plasma beam at the human fleet, intending to obliterate everything in a straight line. Kara anticipated it. Evasive formation Delta. Use the comet field. The human ships twisted, spiraled, and slipped through narrow gaps between rocks, letting the beam strike nothing but harmless debris. Rylan grinned. They can't hit what isn't there. Breaking alien formations. The Lorathi had expected a battle of attrition, overwhelm the humans with numbers and force them into retreat. But the humans played by different rules. Instead of a head-on clash, they split into smaller, unpredictable units, each with its own objectives. Human fighters targeted alien sensor arrays, communications nodes, and engine systems with surgical precision. A cruiser attempting to flank the fleet suddenly found its weapons offline and shields failing. Another, trying to provide cover, was lured into an asteroid field where human drones detonated controlled energy pulses, disabling key systems. The Lorathi, despite superior numbers and firepower, began losing coordination. Signals were jammed, formations fractured, and panic began to spread among commanders. "They are everywhere!" shouted one officer. "They anticipate every maneuver." "How is this possible?" Kyle Thier's voice trembled. "They are not just responding. They are learning. Every attack we make is analyzed and countered almost instantly. We cannot overwhelm them with conventional tactics." Human ingenuity in action. Kara ordered her fleet to execute an ambitious maneuver. Using their knowledge of the nebula surrounding the system, humans deployed energy-reflective drones to create false images of the fleet, making it appear larger than it was. Alien sensors detected multiple phantom ships, forcing cruisers to divide their forces and exposing weak points. Meanwhile, human engineers on board the Resolute hacked into nearby disabled alien drones. They reprogrammed them to act as temporary allies, creating small diversions and further confusing the Lorathi. "Adaptation," Kara said quietly. "They throw numbers, we throw ingenuity." As capital ships closed in, the humans executed precision strikes on vital components, energy cores, propulsion units, and weapon arrays. Alien vessels faltered, some drifting helplessly, others retreating to avoid destruction. Admiral Viermal, watching his fleet crumble in unexpected ways, roared in frustration. "No, this cannot happen. The humans are evolving faster than we can react." Kael'thir stepped beside him, pale in shock. "They are more than survivors. They are predators. They take the universe as it is and make it their advantage. Every obstacle we set becomes an opportunity for them." Turning the planet into a battlefield, Kara's fleet had also established a forward base on the hostile desert planet near the system's outer rim. This base became a critical advantage. Humans adapted the planet's harsh terrain, using it to funnel alien ships into traps and create defensive choke points. Missile launchers and energy turrets were hidden among rocky outcrops, camouflaged against the barren landscape. Energy drones manipulated local storms, creating sandstorms and static fields that disrupted alien sensors. The Lorathi, confident in their space superiority, were blindsided when small human units targeted their supply lines and landing parties. "We control the battlefield," Kara said during a holo briefing. "They think space is theirs. We make every inch of the planet and every piece of debris a weapon." The tide begins to turn. The battle raged for hours. Alien firepower was relentless, yet the humans survived each wave, countering with precision, agility, and intelligence. The Armada, once an unstoppable force, found itself fractured. Orders went unheeded as alien officers struggled to comprehend the humans' tactics. Kara's fleet moved like a living organism, each ship responding to the other's actions seamlessly. Human ingenuity turned every failed attempt by the aliens into an opportunity to adapt. A massive cruiser attempting a frontal assault was lured into a gravity well by human drones, leaving it vulnerable to torpedoes that disabled its engines entirely. Rylan shook his head in disbelief. "They've thrown everything, and yet we are still in control." "How do they survive?" Kara smiled faintly. "Because survival is in our nature. Adaptation is our instinct. That's why we thrive where others fail." Alien desperation. Desperate to regain control, the Lorathi unleashed their deadliest weapon, the Nova Pulse Array, capable of annihilating ships in a wide radius. Energy beams surged across space, targeting clusters of human ships. The fleet braced for impact, but the humans anticipated the attack. They split into multiple vectors, sending decoy ships into the array's path. Drones generated false energy signatures, drawing fire away from critical vessels. The human fleet emerged almost unscathed, while several alien cruisers caught in their own crossfire suffered catastrophic damage. Admiral Viermal's fury was unmatched. "Impossible. We are masters of the universe, and yet We are being undone by a few dozen ships, Kelthir, her voice trembling, said quietly. We have summoned a species that does not fight like we fight. We cannot predict them. We cannot overwhelm them. They adapt. They survive, and they are winning. Victory through adaptation. By the end of the massive engagement, the human fleet had survived an entire Armada assault, inflicted serious damage on alien forces, and maintained control of their forward positions. Not a single human ship was lost, though minor damage required repairs. Alien morale was shattered. The Armada had failed to crush a smaller, less powerful fleet. Kara observed the battlefield, her calm voice echoing through the Resolute. They brought numbers. We brought strategy, adaptation, and courage. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. Rylan nodded. They'll regroup. They'll try again. Kara's gaze remained steady, unwavering. Let them come. We will adapt. We will survive. And when the next wave comes, we will be ready. Aftermath, the Larathi Armada retreated, battered and disoriented. Fleet formations were fractured, communications jammed, and critical ships lost. Kelthir and the Alien Council convened in panic. We underestimated them, Kelthir said. They are not just survivors, they are predators, and we cannot fight them as we fight any other species. Admiral Virmal's claws clenched tightly. Then we escalate further. We will not accept defeat. The humans must be destroyed. Kelthir shook her head. Do you understand what we face? Their strength is not in firepower. Their strength is in adaptability, courage, and intelligence. We cannot destroy them with weapons alone. They survive because they learn, adjust, and overcome. Far from the alien fleets, Kara watched the stars. They will try again, she said quietly. Let them. We survive. We adapt. We thrive. That is what humans do. In the quiet aftermath, the first true battle of the humans against the alien Armada ended not in destruction, but in understanding. Humans had proven their strength, ingenuity, and resilience, and the universe would never underestimate Deathworlders again. The neutral star system lay quiet after the chaos of the battle. The Larathi Armada, once confident in its superiority, had retreated in disarray. Their ships were damaged, formations fractured, and morale shattered. Across the system, alien commanders struggled to understand what had happened. At the center of the human fleet, Lieutenant Kara Maddox observed the stars through the bridge's viewport. Her fleet had survived an impossible assault. Not a single human ship had been lost, and yet Kara knew this was only the beginning. Rylan, her second-in-command, approached her. They're regrouping. We've slowed them, but they'll come back stronger. Kara nodded. Let them. Every encounter teaches us something new. Every tactic they try is another opportunity to adapt. That's how we survive and how we thrive. The Larathi realized the truth far on the Varelli station. Kelthir watched the human fleet's withdrawal with mixed feelings. Awe, fear, and respect. They are not just survivors, she murmured to herself. They are predators and strategists. Their strength is not technology. It is instinct, adaptation, and courage. Admiral Virmal paced the floor, claws tapping against the metal. Our Armada has the greatest firepower in known space, and yet a small fleet has survived against all odds. How is this possible? Kelthir shook her head. It is not about firepower. It is about evolution. Humans do not fear hostile environments, deadly weapons, or overwhelming odds. Every obstacle becomes a tool. Every danger becomes a lesson. That is why they survive. That is why they thrive. The Alien Council, once confident in their supremacy, began to reconsider everything they had known about warfare, strategy, and intelligence. Humans had rewritten the rules simply by being themselves. Humans consolidate their advantage. Kara's fleet moved to a safe distance from the alien fleets, but the humans were not idle. Repair crews worked tirelessly on every ship, recalibrating shields, repairing minor hull damage, and analyzing Larathi tactics. Small teams monitored alien movements, sending back detailed reports. On the forward planetary base, humans continued to adapt the harsh terrain to their advantage. Turrets were improved, environmental defenses strengthened, and drones programmed for rapid response. Even the planet's extreme weather was harnessed. Dust storms disrupted alien sensors while heat vents provided cover for stealth operations. We turn danger into advantage, Kara reminded her team. We survive because we adapt. We thrive because we never stop learning. Rylan glanced at the activity on the planet. They'll need to bring everything next time. But we'll be ready, Kara nodded. Always. Observe, adapt, survive, repeat. A message to the aliens. For the first time since contact, the humans sent a message to the alien fleet. It was simple, calm, and firm. We survive, we adapt. That is all you need to know. No threats, no demands, just a statement of fact. The message alone conveyed a truth that the Lorathi could not ignore. Humans were not intimidated. Not aggressive for the sake of aggression, but completely unafraid of overwhelming odds. Kelthir read the message aloud to Admiral Virmal and the Council. Do you understand? She asked quietly. They do not fear us. They adapt to us, and that is why they cannot be destroyed by conventional means. Virmal's claws clenched in frustration. Then what do we do? Kelthir's eyes were clear, even as she acknowledged the harsh reality. We respect them. We learn from them. And we understand that the universe has changed the moment they arrived. The human departure with repairs completed and forward positions secured, Kara gave the order to leave the system. The human fleet moved out with precision, leaving behind no footprints of aggression, only evidence of survival and ingenuity. The Lorathi watched from afar as the humans departed. Ships that had once been confident in dominance now hovered uncertainly. The humans had not attacked colonies, plundered resources, or sought revenge. They had survived, adapted, and demonstrated strength beyond measure. Kelthir, standing before her council, finally admitted the truth. They are more than warriors. They are explorers, survivors, and innovators. They thrive where others fall. The humans, they are something we have never encountered before. Even Admiral Virmal fell silent. In the deepest part of his mind, he understood what Kelthir had said was true. Humans were unstoppable because they did not play by the rules. They created their own. Humans set the tone for future encounters as the Resolute and its fleet moved toward the outer rim of the system. Kara addressed her team. Every mission, every battle, every obstacle teaches us something. Today we survived against impossible odds. Tomorrow, we will be ready for anything. Remember, survival is not just about strength. It is about adaptation, observation, and courage. That is why we thrive. Her crew nodded, understanding the truth in her words. Humans had survived a mistake, a summoning that had brought the full might of an alien armada against them, and had come out stronger for it. The stars shimmered around them as they left the system behind. Somewhere beyond the edge of known space, new challenges awaited, and humans would meet them as they always did, fearless, adaptable, and unbroken. The Lorathi learned respect back on Virelis. Kelthir and the Council debriefed the entire Armada. For the first time in Lorathi history, an alien species had proven that technology alone was not enough to guarantee victory. Humans had survived, adapted, and demonstrated resilience far beyond what calculations could predict. Kelthir spoke solemnly to the Council. The humans are extraordinary. They survive in environments where others perish. They adapt to every challenge. They do not fear. They do not yield. And they respect life even when they are in battle. This is a species we must respect and, if possible, learn from. Admiral Virmal, still struggling with pride and frustration, finally nodded. We have underestimated them. But now we know. Never again will we assume we understand humanity. Never again. Final reflection. Kara Maddox watched the distant star systems pass by the Resolute. The humans had survived the impossible. They had faced an armada, hostile worlds, and the unknown, and had emerged victorious not through sheer firepower but through adaptability, ingenuity, and courage. They thought they could overwhelm us, Kara said quietly to Rylan, but we don't fight like anyone else. We survive. We adapt, we thrive. That is the human way. Rylan smiled. And the universe just learned that lesson. As the human fleet sailed toward new adventures, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. Somewhere out there, the Lorathi and other civilizations would remember this encounter, not as a defeat, but as a lesson in respect. Humanity was a species that could not be underestimated, a species that survived and thrived where others failed.